People, we need to take a break from the month of Manuary, just for a quick second, and then we'll get right back on track, although you could kind of fit this into being manly, I guess, quote-unquote. Alright, so we need to talk about this ultimate battle between Goku and Superman, and what a load of shit it is. It's not that I'm saying Goku would win, because hypothetically, if this were to somehow happen, Superman would probably win. Obviously, I mean, like, they kind of explained it in the whole entire video. I watched the video, you know, and first of all, I'd just like to point out that who you think is going to win? It would be a close fight if we're going to go into this whole hypothetical sort of situation. But if you're a Superman fan, more so than a Dragon Ball Z fan, you're going to think Superman's going to win. And that's what I've seen, is the people that I know that really like Superman or are comic book fans said Superman will win. The people that like anime more than comic books say Goku's gonna win. So therefore, you know, there's no sort of real, like, actual worth to this death battle thing. Because, let's be honest, why is screwattack the sort of focus of this whole entire thing? Just because they say that, oh, well, according to some arbitrary numbers that we pulled from the source material, because Superman's really strong or something like that, and Goku is only so fast and so powerful and he has limits and that sort of stuff, and Superman's limitless, oh, Superman would win. And I mean, obviously I'm more of a Dragon Ball Z fan than I am a comic book fan, and I like Spider-Man better than Superman just because, let's be honest, Spider-Man is, there's been a lot better things coming out of Spider-Man than there has been coming out of Superman. But that's just getting into semantics. We don't really want to deal with that. But people were just going crazy over this whole entire thing. And for me personally, I'm not going to take what screwattack says as being the definitive answer as to what would go on or what would happen. First of all, there's a lot of flaws in their arguments. There's not one set of source material for Superman. It's different artists, different writers, so really you can just draw from the whole entire universe of Superman. Meanwhile, for Dragon Ball Z, a problem I had is that they use the GT. GT is not Akira Toriyama. Let us not forget that. He kind of bowed out after the end of Dragon Ball Z. GT is not what I would consider legitimate, you know, this is what, because if, let's say, hypothetically, Toriyama wrote GT, it might go differently and not be nearly as terrible as GT ended up being. So the fact that you're taking Superman, which is, you know, people are just creating these things, and eventually Superman is God, you really just need to draw from one series of Superman, not just pick and choose like, oh, well, he was really strong in all of these, so therefore he would probably kick Goku's ass. And you know what, I'm not denying that. I'm trying to look at it from the point of, alright, putting all sort of fan things aside, what would happen? And first, another thing I have to talk about is the battle that they created was really crusty. First of all, why would Goku go from Super Kaioken to Super Saiyan 1, using the power pole, mind you, still, for some reason, meanwhile the power pole was thrown out, like, literally, no, he didn't even use it in Z, I think, at all, actually. He would go Super Saiyan 1, Super Saiyan 2, to Super Saiyan 3, to Super Saiyan 4. Like, that's shit they do in the movies, just to, like, drag it out, you know what I'm saying? In the show, if Goku senses all this massive power, he's probably just gonna go, like, straight off, gonna go, maybe Super Saiyan 2, just right off the bat. And then, you know, if necessary, go to Super Saiyan 3, and then, if we're counting GT, then going into Super Saiyan 4. And also, you know, there's just so many sort of variable things that they don't really recognize. And, you know, of course they did their research. It's not that they didn't do their research. Their research was well done, and they kind of went through and did all this. Well, we drew from numerous sources and talked to numerous people that are, I guess you could call official or very well knowledgeable on the subject. I just think that the whole thing is horseshit, and you really shouldn't. You really should not take screwattack's word as being the definitive, you know, end all. Because I think, you know, in one reality, Superman would kick the shit out of Goku. And then in another reality, Goku would kick the shit out of Superman. So it's kind of like this back and forth thing. And now, like, I don't understand why, just because screwattack, you know, they did a lot of research and they did this math. Because I've seen, like, you know, 5 different versions of the math they did. Like, oh, Goku's only 160, 100,000 million, whatever, times as fast. But I don't think you realize Goku's moving at a speed faster than light, like a lot, like often. You know, but also, why would he fly a Nimbus? That was another thing that had a problem with the battle. Why would he travel on Nimbus when he has his instant transmission, which is like the thing they made a whole big deal about, instant transmission. But especially there, you know, when they were describing the participants in the battle before, where like they were talking about Goku, and it's not like they talked about Goku really negatively, but Superman was like, oh, he is God. There's nothing that can touch him, there's nothing that can destroy him. And it's just like, I'm like, this is... things like this are always going to happen, and I don't think just because screwattack said, you know, this is what it is, and that's it, makes it the end all. For me, at least. You know, a lot of people who are Superman fans are very satisfied. I know, like, oh, of course Superman would kick the shit out of Goku, but like I said, you can't just draw from all the source materials that are out there, because those source materials are at the mercy of the writer. So the writer can make Superman as strong as he wants. Dragon Ball Z is at the mercy of Akira Toriyama. So like, and they did bring up good points about the fight is always about Goku. There's someone whose limits are well above Goku's, and Goku's limits rise to meet those person's limits, and Superman doesn't have limits because Superman yada yada yada. Okay, you know, I'm not saying they didn't make good points, but for me personally, I just think you can't throw numbers at me like, oh, well, they said that Superman can lift 20 trillion tons or whatever. Just these arbitrary numbers that, you know, they're legitimate numbers because they were in the source material, but for me, I'm just like, the whole thing was not as hyped as you'd want it to be, and that you could really make a case for either way, for the fight going either way. Well, just because Goku shot a Kamehameha and hit Superman towards the sun, then therefore he couldn't Superman, because I guess Superman, like I said, I'm not really a big Superman fan, I'm more of a Dragon Ball Z fan, so I'm just, but like, oh, just because Goku did this one thing that shot Superman towards the sun, and he gets really, really infinitesimally more powerful when he goes towards the sun, then therefore, you know, he's really powered up, and then he blows up the whole entire Earth and kills Goku. And like, that's not, it gets 2 thumbs down for me. I don't really watch these death battle things anyway, because I'm not really, it's really just a fanboy contest. And whoever you're more of a fanboy of and can make a case for is, you know, gonna be the one that you think would win. But this is not a situation that'll ever happen. So, like I said before, it's just a load of horseshit to me, and would it really live up to the hype that I think it would? You know what? The animation in the fight was nice, but like I said, Goku, it was just like some crusty Dragon Ball Z movie that, you know, where he's like, oh, he fights normally for a little while, and then, you know, at the halfway point in the movie, then he goes Super Saiyan 1, and then in the final few minutes, he goes Super Saiyan 3 just because he has to use Dragon Fist and end it all right there. So it was that sort of situation and thinking that, you know, I didn't really enjoy in Dragon Ball Z, because like, why the fuck wouldn't you just go balls deep right in the beginning? Like, that's why I like Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star, because it's never like, oh, we're just gonna underestimate the opponent. It's like, no, we're just gonna go right in there and just, you know, give him some Hokuto Shinken right up the ass, and that'll be the end of it. So I guess that's pretty much all I have to say on this death battle thing. We're gonna get back into the month of Manuary, but don't take this as fact. It's not fact. It's, like I said, it's all arbitrary. It's whatever you want to think, and that should be the end of it. So take it easy, guys.